So I want to be as real as I can, right? You know, a lot of spiritual teachers, a lot of people teaching awakening are doing what we call spiritual bypassing. You see, we have people telling others that Earth is a school, that this third dimension, this realm, this physical reality is a school, that we are here to school, we are here to learn something, and we chose to come here. Now, let's pause for a moment and ask so many questions, right? Because that is the way to unravel the truth. Because the truth is already within you. I don't think Earth is a school. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But I don't think Earth is a school. Because when I look at reality, right? Some share reality, a lot of things that are happening now isn't something that we chose, or it isn't something that we have control over. First of all, you live in a reality where you pay to survive, you pay to exist. So what we call existence, right? What we call existence, oh, there is God, there is nature, there is the divine. The divine is benevolent, the divine is full of love, the divine is full of blah blah blah, the divine thinks about us, it loves us and all of that. Look at reality and let's picture something. You and I, we need to pay money before what we can survive. You need to pay money before you can get access to water, food, shelter, movement, and other things. Now, first of all, the idea of money, did you decide on money? Did you decide that you want to use money to survive this system? You were born into a system that requires you to pay before you exist. So existence, we are paying for existence. We are paying to survive. We are paying to exist. So something that is of nature, that is of divine, or let's say that is our divine property, we are now paying to have access to it. How does this tell you that you chose this? How does this translate to you that you chose to come here and all that you are doing is paying to survive? Does this make sense to you? Maybe you can sit down a little bit and then ponder over it. It doesn't make sense to me from where I'm standing and looking at reality and whatever that is happening. Because the majority, or let's say the biggest problem humanity is facing, it has to do with things that surrounds money. The biggest problem we are facing has to do with money, because you need to pay to have access to every little thing, every single thing. You need to pay money. And now, how to also make that money is dictated by systems and people, and it makes it difficult for us to come by. It makes it difficult for people to just go by the day. People who just want to survive, they just want to eat food and drink water, nothing much. It's still very difficult. We have a good number of us in problems. And you are telling me that we chose to come here to face this dense reality, pain, problems, scarcity, engineered scarcity, artificial poverty, suffering, chaos. We chose to come here. No, it doesn't make sense to me. My intuition is telling me that no, we didn't choose to come here. A system brought us here. Childbearing, reproduction brought us here. Do you get it? It brought us here. You didn't decide. You were born into it. And being born into it means that you don't decide what is going to happen here. You just come and meet systems and you adjust to it. You did not decide. You never sat down to think about it. You never sat down to go like, yo, I want to be on earth. I want to come here and pay for my existence, pay for everything, face this reality, be controlled, go through systems, deal with fear, shame, guilt. You didn't do that. Programming, religion. And religion programs a lot of people. Religion is one powerful tool that the system is also using to keep people in low frequency. Nobody decided to come here and get stuck in low frequency. Yes, we might learn something. We might learn to evolve, but it isn't the reason why we are here. We are evolving because we realize that we cannot stay the same. So it becomes imperative that we learn and evolve. That doesn't mean it's the reason why you came here. No. You came here because you were born here. You were born into this system. If you were not born, okay, if your parent didn't decide to give birth to you, you wouldn't have been here. So stop lying to yourself. And the painful thing is we have spiritual people on spiritual path, people on enlightenment path, people who are teaching awakening, and they are telling people that they chose this reality. So what it means is whenever you have a problem, the challenges, the fear, the scarcity, the suffering, the discomfort you are going through, you chose it. Some people are poor, some are living on the streets. Some are even mad. You are telling me that all these people chose to have this, experience in this reality. No, it doesn't make sense to me. Nobody chose to be poor. Nobody chose to be born by, poor people. Nobody chose a life of struggle. Nobody chose to go through a reality where they pay for everything and then they are being told that they are the universe. It is consciousness experiencing itself. You are the universe, you are that, but you pay for everything. You pay for water. You pay to have access to nature. You pay to have a place in Mother Earth or on Mother Earth. So you go that, Mother Earth, nature, Mother Nature, blah, 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 blah. All these are spiritual language to decorate what? The danger that is happening here. You still pay to have access to Mother Earth. You still pay to live in this planet. So there are people behind, there are systems behind that are engineering us, shaping perception, perspectives, and realities. So the struggle is real. The battle here is real. Don't lie to yourself, because no amount of awakening is going to bypass the fact that you will need money to survive. You will need money to survive. Your awakening, your enlightenment, your spirituality isn't going to bypass that. That is what we are saying. And we need to think about it. Who decided that we should use money to run this place? Who decided? It was already decided before you got here. So if money is the problem and a lot of people are facing it, why don't we as humanity change it if it doesn't help us? It tells you that you are not in control. You are not deciding for yourself. The free will they talk about is an illusion, because you cannot will something differently from what the system has. Can you decide to use rubber to pay for your services as a means of exchange? It cannot be possible. That's what we're talking about. So if you look at reality, and a lot of people have financial issues, what does that tell you? What is that telling you? So if all of us are struggling with money, why don't we sit down to change the system if it doesn't help us? Some people do not want it to be changed, because that would mean that they would lose control. They cannot program you. They cannot tell you what to do. They cannot engineer you, and in the background, and that is the problem. So they created a system that drains you before you can get something. Okay, they determine the job you can do, the amount of hours you should work, and the amount of money you'll be paid is determined by someone. That is why you work all your life, you don't get enough. You don't get enough. That is a system. It wires all of us to chase money. It's as if that is the only reason why we are here. Zoom out and check what I'm saying. You don't have to believe me. This is my perspective. It's as if all of us came here to chase money. So awakening, awareness, enlightenment can make you become aware of the system that you are living in. But maybe you cannot entirely change it. Maybe you can detach. Maybe it can reduce, the intensity of the suffering and the attachment, thinking this reality is real. Maybe it can lessen that, but it doesn't automatically change the system. And that is why I believe in the Gnostics. Okay, the Gnostic teaching. That is why I believe that it makes sense to me than any other reality. I have talked about the fact that Earth is a school. I have discussed that before. I have taught people that, but no, I don't think so. And you see, in spirituality, we evolve. So we are getting to know better. Earth is not a school. You didn't decide to come here. No, you didn't decide to go through all of this pain. Now, I understand sometimes pain is important, because when you are in pain, you pay attention to some of the unconscious patterns that you are repeating. So sometimes pain can help with the duality, the polarity. So that when you experience this side, you know that this side exists. So that experiencing pain can make you appreciate what love is, what freedom is. That is fine. But the kind of pain, the intensity of pain here, no, we didn't choose it. And we cannot say that all pain, we cannot say that all pain leads to, liberation or leads to enlightenment. No, some pain are just, you're just going through the pain. There's nothing behind it. You're just suffering. So maybe you have to admit it. And maybe we can find real-time solutions to what is happening here. Now, they want us to believe that this reality is the ultimate. This reality isn't the ultimate. They want us to get addicted here. That is why I talk about childbearing. That the more we give birth to human beings, other souls, the more we are keeping people here. in the entrapment, the more we are trapping souls here. Because childbirth is the only thing that is recycling souls here. Because right now, if you decide to give birth, you will invite another soul here. And that soul, okay, is oblivious of what is happening here. That soul isn't fully aware of what's happening here. Now, when that soul gains awareness, it will know that, or that soul will know that, no, I shouldn't be here. This place is dense, blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm talking about. You don't decide to be here. That is a lie. Now, I understand that there are some souls or there are some beings that can choose to incarnate here. That is fine. But in the human race, people don't decide to come here. That's not true. Because when I look at reality and you tell me we are not learning anything. Humanity has existed for so many years. This world has been there for millions of years. What have we learned as humanity? Tell me, what have we learned? We have the same problems. We are even adding on to the problems. A lot more what? Suffering, chaos, shame. Humanity hasn't learned anything. We keep perpetuating the fear, the problems. What are we learning? Don't lie to yourself. Because so many people have died. So many people have been here. They couldn't solve the money problem. They couldn't solve it. We are still here facing the same thing. It should tell you something. What are we learning? What are we learning exactly as humanity? Because every now and then, the system is finding more ways to enslave you and I. The leaders, they are finding more ways to enslave all of us. To keep us stuck in low frequency. To keep us in fear, shame, and guilt. So what are you learning? What is reality doing? The only thing I can see is entrapping people. Is keeping people in the entrapment. That is what I see. Trapping people. That is what I see. So life is just meaningless. It's meaningless. There's nothing happening here. You can give meaning to your life. That is fine. But it doesn't mean that inherently life is meaningful. It is not. And the reason why maybe you have a meaning is that you just realize there's nothing here. So you create something that you'll be happy about. And you call it purpose. That is fine. But that doesn't still bypass the fundamental reality that this reality is meaningless. We can do some of the things that we love, right? We can spend time with people that we love, do things that we love. That is fine. And I think that is the most beautiful thing you can do because the system isn't there for you. But when you zoom out and you check reality and the amount of pain people are going through, humanity is going through, it's crazy. We didn't choose to be here. Don't lie to yourself. Don't accept pain. Don't get accustomed. Don't get addicted to this system. The slavery here, the suffering and the dense energy. Nobody chose to be here. Nobody chose to be here. No. So many people are poor. So many people are going through problems. Are you telling me they chose to come here and see problems? And what makes you think they go like, oh, we are here to learn. To learn for what? For where? Because our highest expression is spirit. That is energy. So what makes you think we need physical experiences to learn so that we can live in our spiritual state? If everything is in spirit, that is where everything comes from. What makes you think we need to learn here before we can live in a spiritual state, in a different dimension? It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me. So maybe we can stop the spiritual bypass. We can stop decorating this reality with spiritual language and spiritual ways and face the reality as it is. And maybe that is when we can create something that, lightens up our world. Because we didn't choose this reality. Nobody chose it. You didn't choose to be a Ghanaian. You didn't choose to have the family that you have right now. You didn't choose to be born by your parents. You did not choose that. You didn't choose to have all these dense reality and the suffering, the chaos, and the problems you have in your reality. I have mine. I didn't choose it. You didn't choose yours. Earth is not a school. It's not. It's an entrapment. Okay, souls are trapped here in lower consciousness. And you see, pain is always constant. Okay, joy, happiness, and let's say the things that will make you really free, they are conditional. But pain, scarcity, and suffering is always constant. Think about it. Why do we have a reality where pain is constant? Where freedom is expensive? But slavery is easy to come by. Why? Why is consciousness expressing itself that way? Why do we have a dense reality where pain is constant, slavery is constant, suffering is constant, chaos, shame, insanity, murder is constant, but freedom is expensive, joy is expensive, keeping a positive life or something is very difficult. Why? Why is it that everything here has to consume some other thing before it can sustain itself? This reality, everything you see, it has to consume some other thing to sustain itself. Why do we have a reality like that? So don't lie to yourself. There are forces that are trying to keep us here. It is real. The warfare is real. The warfare here is real. So is your intelligence. So is your intuition. So is your soul. You are also real. You are also powerful. Do you get it? But then because of this body, we are always trapped in the matrix because you will need to survive. The body will have to survive. You need to eat. You have to sleep. You will need a physical thing to survive the body. That is what we are talking about. That keeps you, as a slave. That keeps me as a slave. We may get some freedom, but it's not going to be absolute. Until we die, it's not going to be absolute. We can create some form of freedom for ourselves. That is true. And maybe we should focus on that. And maybe we can find some real-time solutions and stop the spiritual bypass and top of sharing to people, telling people that there is a school. It's not. It has never been. It will never be.